Hey, it's #1 best-selling author and motivational speaker Eric Equalman, but most of you know me as Equalman. Thank you for joining us for today's 7 super tips with the Shark Tank's Robert Herjavec, where he's going to go over 7 life hacks that's going to make your life happier and healthier.
What do you think is the #1 quality you see in people who come into Shark Tank and pitch you in terms of companies that are successful and have potential?
Their passion, and Mark Cuban completely disagrees with me on this. We have horrible arguments at lunch about this. For me, the passion about a very narrow field. So people misunderstand that. Oh, you mean I have to be passionate, I have to be excitable. I said, no, you have to be passionate about one thing. Be great at one thing. The world will reward your knowledge of a very narrow field. So the analogy I always use is, Tom Brady, I love NFL football. Tom Brady gets paid $25 million a year to throw the ball. He doesn't get paid to block. He doesn't get paid to tackle. In fact, when he does those things, people freak out. Be Tom Brady.
Be good at
one thing.
At one thing.
And then be great at that one thing. Be world class at one thing. Forget your weaknesses, because somebody is going to eat your lunch at the stuff you're not good at. I've made so many mistakes that this interview isn't long enough to count all the mistakes. I would say on an average day, I probably do 100 things wrong. I try not to make mistakes that'll kill me or the business. Because I always like to say, death is almost always fatal. Learn from them, and then, most importantly, forget about it. It doesn't matter. Whatever you did wrong yesterday, nobody cares. Don't complain, because nobody cares. I've had a lot of low points, personally, career-wise, all kinds of stuff. But, you've got to really understand yourself. Sometimes you got to go really low. Sometimes you got to hit bottom before you can bounce back up. And, fundamentally, what other choice do you have? I mean, we weren't put here to wallow in our own misery. Get over it. Move on, do better, take care of the ones you love. First thing I always say to everybody is, you are stronger than you think, right? You have the courage within you to do it, and you've got to believe in yourself, because there are going to be really, really crappy days.
Right.
And if you can absorb failure, if you can get up on those days when failure makes you feel overwhelmingly like you can't even get up, if you can get up on those days, you can make it. You're stronger than you think. Okay. I wake up every day and I think, isn't this great? I'm as happy every day as I was the day before.
Would you be as happy if you weren't worth millions and millions of dollars?
I'm a pretty happy guy.
Yeah. So
I think that's one of the keys to success. I read an article that the difference between successful people and people that struggle are successful people exude joy. Jeff, if you're not a happy guy and other people don't want to hang out with you, why would they hang out with you?
Right.
If you're miserable and nobody wants to spend time with you, how are you ever going to get ahead?
Yeah, it's
Why complain?
Well, and I think about that a lot when you think about just the simple thing of smiling in a day,
Absolutely.
How it changes your day.
I remember when we were really young, this lesson was taught to me by my dad, and I kind of had a miserable day at school because, the kids make fun of you, you're an immigrant, you're poor. And I came home and I was feeling sorry for myself, and my dad came home. It's going to sound so melodramatic. He walked a couple miles to the factory. He was a blue-collar guy, and I came home and he just stood there, and I was complaining about my day.
Where were you living?
Oh, we were living in like this stage would be 3 times the size in a little apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it wasn't pleasant. And my dad was just standing there, and I was complaining and feeling sorry for myself. And my dad looks at me and says, never complain. You should always be happy with the opportunities given you. And that was it.
to that, the will to win. Is that the distinguishing thing between the winners and the losers, the person who's in first and the person who's second? Is it just their desire?
Whoa. Well, I don't think there's such thing as losers. I don't like to classify people that way, but...
So the person who comes in last in a Ferrari race with you, they're just a different kind of winner?
You know, every time you lose at something, you're one step closer to winning the next time. The difference between successful people and not successful people, let's call it that way, are people give up. People wake up every morning, they have doubt, they have fear, they lose in a Ferrari race or they lose in a race, and then they just give up. The hardest thing in life to learn is to lose. Winning's easy. You win, you're happy, you get a high five, your friends are happy. It's your ability to take a loss, get up the next day, dust yourself off, and keep going.
You know, it's funny, when I was growing up, everybody said that to me. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Is that true?
So there I am. I'm 18 years old. My dad works in a factory sweeping floors, and my mom's a receptionist. So if the key to success in life is who you know, I'm in trouble. So I said to myself, I don't believe that. I believe I got to go out and become the guy that others want to get to know. It's all about what you make of it.
One of the fascinating things in the book is you draw on other people's experiences that don't seem to relate to your life. Georges St-Pierre, MMA fighter. What does a businessman learn from a guy who punches people for a living?
Well, we were just talking about that outside, and you know, the difference between the UFC fighter and the rest of us is no one hits us in the face every morning. So that really brings things into focus. What I learned out of him is it's all about being efficient. It's not the strong, it's not the big, it's not the rich, it's not the poor that'll inherit the earth, it'll be the efficient. You don't see too many dinosaurs walking around anymore, and they were really big animals.
Yeah. So, okay, great. So not being a dinosaur is an important lesson. So how do you keep
Adaptability. Adaptability. So I've never been the smartest guy in the room, but I feel pretty confident if you drop me in the middle of a jungle, I'll figure out a way to survive. It's your ability to survive in any situation that separates the people that do well from those that don't.
Once again, this is your host, Eric Equalman. Thank you for joining us for today's 7 Super Tips episode with the Shark Tank's Robert Herjavec. And please subscribe to our channel for more life hacks like these so you can lead a happier and healthier life. Until next time, remember, it's not what we take from this world, it's what we leave behind. Is this Shark Week? What's Shark Week for Discovery Channel? Well, the problem is they have Shark Week in the first weeks. Like the first time they do it's amazing, but then there's not like a lot of attacks during the rest of the year. So then if you watched one Shark Week, you've kind of watched them all. Thank you for joining us for today's 7 Super Tips episode with Roger. Mr. Driscoll's my check on the humor, and usually he's like, yeah, that's not funny. Once again, this is Eric Equalman. Thank you for joining us for today's 7 Super Tips episode with the Shark Tank's Robert Herjavec.